Hello, I'm Gregory Mosley, martial art instructor, and this is Martial Art Universe, bringing you the finest of the martial arts from around the world. Point. On November 11th, 2017, I attended the HBO-Cinemax Urban Action Showcase and Expo, which was located at the AMC Theater on 42nd Street. It was produced by Demetrius Angelo. The Urban Action Showcase celebrates the past, present, and future multicultural achievements in the blockbuster action industry. There's an action expo, action panels, as well as an action film festival. This year, they honored Kung Fu legend Liu Fang, who starred in the classic Kung Fu movie 5 Deadly Venoms. Martial art movie stars Michael Jai White, Robert Samuels, and the Black Dragon Ron Van Cleef were also honored.
Okay, it's an action comic, right?
So basically this is Action A Go-Go magazine. I am the managing editor of actionagogo.com. Over here is my editor-in-chief walking over right now. And basically we're an action site dedicated to action movies and action games and action TV shows and anything action. We love the genre, we want to support it. And this magazine is kind of like the best of our website as well as some original content. And this is actually our race issue. So we talk about race as it pertains to the action genre itself. So we talk about Lethal Weapon, we talk about Black Mama, White Mama, we talk about Creed, we talk about some famous Mexican directors, like we run the whole gamut. And it's all about highlighting and supporting people of color in the genre itself. And on top of that, I would have to point out, you get a free sneak peek of Fight of the Century, which is the comic I've written with Nick Allen. It's about performance-enhancing drugs in the future, and mixed martial artist who decides to go all natural and take on all the Frankenstein Hulk-like behemoths that have now taken over the octagon in the MMA world. So, there you go.
Okay, Action what's your names again?
I'm Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Derek Scarzella.
We represent Action A Go-Go.
Oh, cool.
This here are products from Taji Mag. It's a Black Beauty and Culture publication that comes out quarterly. And we also have artwork from the One Will Focus. So over here, artwork.
And your I see it says One Will Focus?
Yes.
What is this you guys got here?
This is mostly animated figures, Dragon Ball Z, I have Justice League, Mario, Naruto, and DC Comics like Batman.
And you have a website that people can...
Yes, zinnycollectibles.net, and here's my business card.
So I gave her my information and she passed my name around, and a couple months later I got on a job. Mysteries Allura was my first job, and I think I did a good job, and it kind of just went from there, and I haven't looked back. I love it, and to have worked with these amazing women is very humbling, and I'm very grateful.
And she just finished Black Panther.
Yeah.
And Avengers.
At what age did you start?
8.
8? Yeah. Okay. Now, so when did you start with the movies? Did you start with Shaw Brothers?
Oh, no. 我一开始跟张彻导演，他是我师父。那张彻导演当时是在台湾拿show.
Okay. So when he first started in the movies, he was working with director Chang Cheh, and so but at that time Chang Cheh was not with Shaw Brothers yet.
And were the other members of the Venoms, as they're known, also working with Chang Cheh at that time?
Yeah.
Did you work with them in the Peking Opera?
大概除了孙健跟我们组里面也有 帅小师弟就是罗马、孙健、韦白、吴世学，剩下我不追，还有这个小师弟都是奖称，奖称都是随便。
So, picking up were Guo Chu and Cheng Sheng, but not Sun Tian, Wei Pai, and Lo Ma.
Yeah, they were in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So,
Sun Jian from Taiwan. Yeah, I went to.
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
Yeah, did Chang Che called you the Taiwan boys?
Yeah.
And when did you all get together?
当这个导演再回到香港的时候，就是我们大概就一起合作。
Okay, so when Cheng Che returned to Hong Kong is when they started working together.
And how many films did you make in Taiwan before you went to Hong Kong? 7. The same sort of movies?
Yeah.
Again,
因为我们在台湾的时候，我们不是做演员，做导演。
Okay, so when they were in Taiwan, they weren't actors yet, they were stuntmen still.
Yes. So when did you became actors when you went to Hong Kong?
Hong Kong. 有在台湾的时候有演这个什么 role， 小角色，然后这个因为我们要有一些表演的这个基础啊什么的，到了香港之后，就张导演就把我们全部集中起来。
Okay, so at that time in Taiwan, there were still stuntmen that had small roles only, but it was when Chang Che brought them to Hong Kong was when they became actors, had starring roles.
Did you in Taiwan opera? Did you specialize in a particular kind of part, or did you do many different parts in Peking opera?
因为 Peking opera, I put the painting face, like the mask of the
painted face.
Yeah. 那我中间就是学一些什么刀、剑、棍、兵器都有学。
So you did all the different weapons, like spear and stick,
knife.
Right.
I knew between all of us we would get this.
大关刀。
Big.
Oh, the halyard, yeah. So
I think it's called the Guando.
Yeah, Guando. And very good. And when you all started together in Hong Kong, was the decision made that you would always be the villain, or did you want to be the hero, or you didn't care?
I don't care.
You don't care.
因为我看起来就是坏人。
He looks bad.
Did all of you work that out? Who would play what, or did Chang Che say, you villain, you cute, you muscles, you hero? Yeah.
Zhang Che decided everything.
He decided everything?
Yeah.
And what was the first one? Was that Venom's? Was that this movie? Well, you weren't here for this movie. Okay. You remember what the first movie was? The first one with all of you?
All for us?
Yes.
五毒就是五毒啊。
Yeah, mine was by Venom.
It was by Venom.
在这个之前也有啊。其实我也是演员。
He was in the movies before by Venom, but he was a bad guy also.
Oh, he's also bad.
Chinatown Kid, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Heaven and Hell.
Yeah.
I'm the bad guy.
Bad guy.
Yeah. Always. All the time.
Please. The little fact is that he also appeared in the one Countdown in Kung Fu, also called Hand of Death. In the very beginning of the movie, there's a scene where James Ken and his guys go in and beat up lots of Shaolin guys. One of them is Liu Feng.
Was John Woo?
Yeah, John Woo, Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung,
Yeah.
Countdown James Ken.
Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Did you?
Shaolin men.
我知道。那个时候我还是
Yeah, at that time he was still a stuntman.
Oh, still a stuntman, but still villain.
Kind of subbing for Jackie Joan, which is the main pop star within the film. So Donnie jumps off this railing and does this jump roundhouse kick, and I'm supposed to get hit to this side of my cheek, and I'm supposed to do this, you know, double turn, right? I'm like, double turn, what the hell? And so they put a turtle shell on my back, and I'm supposed to do this twist in the air and land on my back on the concrete. So first they bought this mat that was the same color as the concrete, and I figured, oh, okay, great, I'm gonna land on a mat. So I tried it a bunch of times and said, okay, it's not too difficult. But when it came time to doing the actual shot, they took away this mat and I have to actually hit the concrete. And the first take, I did it perfectly. And then Yun screams at me and says, no, 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 you didn't show pain. And look at the camera after, because they had a camera, a long shot, and then a camera on the ground. So I'm lying on the ground, and I'm supposed to look at the camera in agony, right? So we had to do the second take, and of course the second take is when I didn't fall correctly, and of course I hit my tailbone, and then my head slammed on the concrete. So you kind of learned on the set as you went along, and that's how it was.
One of my favorite stories is, I think, the thing you had to do to get into the Stuntman's Club?
Yes.
Tell that story, I love it.
I was filming a film, it was called, in Chinese it's Momin Bei. In English it's Don't Give a Damn. And then that particular day there were a number of action directors on set. Samuel was there, Yun Biao, Lao Ga Wing. And the running joke amongst the Chinese community at that time was like Americans can do action, but they can only do a certain type of action, and they can't do more extensive action. So I'm looking at them all gambling on me doing this particular stunt. So Yun Biao told Samuel, he was like, he can't do it. It's impossible. So what the stunt called for was they had laid out 100 feet of track. So I had to actually run out of a burning building. I played a SWAT team commander, went in there taking drugs from the police department and shot the place up. I had to run out the building, do a mad dash across the yard 100 feet. It was a 15-foot fence. One pivot point. I had to leap onto the pivot point, flip over the 15-foot fence, land on an embankment like this that had a pipe sticking out of the ground like that, land on the embankment, run into the middle of the highway as a moving truck was going by and jump into the back of the moving truck.
All in one shot.
All in one shot. Wow. And they swore that there's no way. So Samuel and Yun Biao was like, listen, they think you can't do it. So I said, well, if I can, will you allow me to be a Hong Kong stuntman? And they were like, yeah, okay, no problem. Right? So as I'm preparing for the stunt and everything, I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at them all exchanging money. Yeah. Like there's a bet going on. You know what I mean? So at this point, Samuel says, roll camera. And I ran out the building, and the whole time in my mind, I'm like, I gotta do this in one take. I just ran. I hit the pivot point. I knew that's where the jump had to come. I landed, I knew the pipe was there, so I landed with my feet spread so my behind bone wouldn't hit the pipe. Then I just kept, I didn't stop to think about, oh, I got that part right, well, you know, because that would have messed the shot up. So I I just kept running, and I saw the truck coming, and when the truck came, I just leapt into the back of it as it kept driving down the street, all in one take. So when I go back, I hear crickets, nobody's talking, and I'm like, I did it. And they looked at each other like, God damn, he did do it. So then I just held the paper out, and I went in there with the 4 action director signatures that I needed, and that's how I became a Hong Kong stuntman. But after that, I realized that there was a lack of unity amongst Western actors in Asia. So one person would do a role here, one person would do a role there. I saw Vincent, but I never worked with him at the time. So I gathered probably some of the most popular ones, and I said, look, we can change the game over here if we stick together. So I approached a production company who, Art House Productions. They had a very famous actor assigned to him, Simon Yam at the time. And they've never signed Western actors. So they actually signed all 7 of us. And it was the first time that I organized, the first time in the history of Hong Kong cinema that there was ever a Western stunt team in Asian cinema. The first film we ended up doing was with Yuen Wah-ping, the action director of The Matrix, and that was called The Red Wolf. So
we're going to get to The Red Wolf in a second. I want you to tell the Operation Condor story.
Yeah, one thing I can add to what Bobby is saying is that the Chinese have a saying that you have to eat bitter, and basically it means they're going to kick the shit out of you. And they're going to put you through so much pain. Number one, you're, you know, here you are. People always ask me why I played the villain so many times. And I actually, in Hong Kong, I played the villain 19 times. And I actually lived through the whole film, the first film, which was Tiger Cake with Yuen Wo Ping. After that, every film I did, I was killed in some heinous way. And so they put you through, you basically have to really prove yourself. And once, as you said, there was a group of 7 or 10 of us that basically did most of those films during the Golden Age.
That's right.
Once every Westerner from Canada, America, the UK, Australia found out that, God, they're making all these films using Westerners, everyone came to Hong Kong.
Yep.
But the problem is they left just as fast as they came because they would do maybe 1 or 2 films, and
that was it.
And that was it.
It was a gimmick.
Yeah, right? Or because of ego,
right.
They thought, oh, guess I work with so-and-so, so now, and he said he wants to use me again. And it doesn't work like that. And so they really, you had to be humble. You had to take a lot of, in a way, abuse sometimes.
So.
I remember the second film I did, which was co-starring with Cynthia Rothrock, called Blonde Fury. And that was directed by Corey Yuen, who did all the Transporter films. I was sitting, I was practicing, trying to go through some choreography for the next fight scene. And Corey Yuen was sitting on this wall, and he was eating these shelled peanuts. You know, he would eat the shelled peanuts and throw the shell on the floor. And I'm trying to get the timing of this scene, and I couldn't get it. I was getting very frustrated. And I'm thinking, and all of a sudden, Corey, he threw this peanut at my forehead. I mean, it was a great shot. I mean, he was like from here, and I was sitting over by the wall, and he just went, boom, and it hit me right in the forehead. And I looked at him, and he had this smirk on his face. And the stuntman who was sitting there also started kind of, not laughing out loud, but you could see the smirk as if, what am I going to do? And I just wanted to like pick up something and throw it at him, you know. But I couldn't. I had to suck it up and just tune it out and get back and do the shot. And I thought Corey Yuen hated me. I really did. And the film was, you know, the film was over, and it was very successful for Cynthia. You know, my photo was like this in all the Chinese newspapers, because every major shot was with Cynthia and I. And so, again, it was great for me, but I thought Corey hated me. And then a few years later, I got called to do a film called Alcohol Brothers with Frankie Chan. And Frankie calls me into the office, and he says, I want you to be in my next film. No audition, nothing. By that point, I stopped auditioning, right? And I said, wow, that's great, thank you, thank you. He said, Corey Yuen came to me, and he says, do you want to work with anybody in Hong Kong? Work with Vincent Lin. I said, he said that? He said, yeah, because you never complain. You do everything, you try your hardest, you don't swear at anyone, you just shut up and do what you're asked to do. So, you know, I thought it was amazing how that happened. Yeah, I was not a part of the Hong Kong Stuntmen's Association. I wasn't a Hong Kong stuntman. I would never claim to be a stuntman at all. Everything I learned was just being on the film. And I would say, I mean, I did 19 films in Hong Kong. 95% of what you see is me. It's not another stunt. I mean, there's a few times. And the interesting thing is they would use a stuntman at the kind of an inappropriate place. It would basically, because they showed up and they needed to pay them that day, they would have them do something. So I remember there's a shot in Operation Condor. I didn't need a stuntman at all. I said, Jackie, no. He said, no, you need to take a rest. It's going to be much more difficult later. And they would bring in this guy, and all he would do is just one turn, and and then this or something, and then, of course the pan was from the back of him. I'm like, why did they need him to do that? But it was just a case of the system. They brought him in. They needed to pay him that day, so let's give him something to do. So.
And you guys both keep up with your martial arts, right?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. I still train when I eat. I take the fork. I go, what? I'm just joking. You have to maintain a certain sense of physical presence. It's embedded in both of us. It's just he comes from the God Kung Fu lineage, so he has to maintain.
He's the last
heir to the
lineage, right?
Yeah.
And I started learning martial arts in '78. I stopped in 2002. Now I learn Kung Fu.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Bobby, what style do you do? What kind of style?
I studied Hong Hyun for many years, Hong Fist. And I have one of my idols over there, see Carl Albright sitting right there.
Another good star.
And I know most of you, a big influence in my life. One of my mentors and one that the director producer, House Party, and Boomerang, Eddie Murphy.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Any advice for someone who's just starting out? Who's a martial artist but is just starting out into the acting and stuff?
Did you do the Kulti actor today?
I did do it.
How did you feel?
It was very new to me.
Okay.
I learned everything was very informative, and they gave me great advice.
Did I give you any good advice? Or
you did. It was all good advice. It was all good advice. I followed all of it.
Okay. You give him the advice.
It's not it's not really. Luck has a good part to do with it, but until that luck happens, you have to kind of maintain a certain thing. Meaning, you need to keep practicing on that, this, have a well-rounded repertoire of things that you can offer as far as action is concerned. So that's what I did. I studied Chinese cinema and everything prior to actually wanting to do the movies, so that I knew that when I had my opportunity, that it would be well-rounded and they couldn't say no. I would go to auditions here real quick. Wesley Snipes showed up, Lauren Fishburne, and I never had an opportunity to do nothing once they walked through the door, you know what I mean? So I said, I'm going to another country. I'll make a name for myself over there, and then I'll come back, and I ain't got to worry about auditioning. And that's what I did.
Here's the deal. Screw all that. You live at the best time. I've worked in every industry except video games, and I'm working on video games to make the first authentic Kung Fu video game. But I've worked in everywhere because I wanted to. And the reason because I can today. I've been a professional since 1973. I've been paid for everything, and like I said, I've worked in every single medium. And you can do that and now is the best time ever to break out because you have this. You don't need anybody at any studio or any network to tell you anything at this point. Oh, I need you to give me money. No, you don't. You need your friends, you need your imagination, you need your time, and you create, whether it's a song, whether it's a movie, whether it's an animation, whether it's a fight scene, you do it yourself. You create your stage on YouTube, and what's awesome about this is that the cream will rise. You'll know that you're doing well because the studios and the networks will start coming to you because you've done something good. The son of one of my best friends is working with Smosh.com. If you don't know who Smosh is, check him out. He's a millionaire now. And just like Kung Fu, just like food, there's only one thing I like. And as an audience member, that's what I want to see, which is great. I've had terrible Chinese food, I've had great Chinese food. I prefer great. So do great. That's all you have to do. Get it out to your audience. If it's good, you'll know. That's true of everybody. Do whatever you want.
I started to learn the industry because I'm going, no, there's this Lauren Avedon, there's all these new guys coming up. And I'm going, no, wait till they give time out. Here's correct. And I said, my goodness, thank you. I said, this man, we love him. Our community will get behind him. Wait till they give him that chance. And I waited. And I kept learning. And then I started to get a little embittered by this industry. And I said, wait a damn minute. for years. And I said, is it really like this? And I was committed to learning and continuing to learn. Everybody here, the ones who came before me, you know, the word sensei, someone who came before you. Right. And I consider you my sensei in that term. Because it made me strive to learn this industry. I'm in the situation now where Gigantic Entertainment, which is my brand, will be launching some interesting things that's coming down the pipe.
You guys are the future of martial arts in America and in this world. You guys make me very proud. Thank you so much for your output, your energy. And keep up the good work, Another Quick.
We love you, man. You still there.
Allowing me to be here, and I've had a very interesting journey. I'm still working out. You know, you can't stop working out. You have to always have a goal. I'm trying to get in the best shape that I can by 80.
Yes.
I'm competing 2 weeks in my 8th Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Championship. After 9 years training with Helson Gracie, I made purple belt last month. Mid-60s. Wow. You know, I was involved in karate and kung fu from when I was a teenager. I started training with Master Moses Powell in Brooklyn. Thank you so much everyone for coming. Demetrius,